Like his argument number one presupposes possibility. Like it also presupposes that existence is a predicate, which again you put into question. So he can't win. He can't by virtue.
I mean, that's a really controversial take. It's not clear what Kant meant there by
Yeah, I mean
existence
Monkeyz,
is
I have
not
a question. Like, do you hold that God is omnipotent, but he's not all knowing?
um y- by depending on how you define omnipotent, then yes.
Yeah, no, look. In any case, when we talk about God knowing everything, you do know that we're gonna be
Wait, say
inclusive
that again.
to logical possibilities, right?
Say that again.
Okay. Do you know that all knowing trivially entails that knowing everything that is logically possible, right?
Uh, um, I don't believe that knowing everything is possible.
I mean, no, I'm saying logically possible.
Yeah, I don't think it's logic. I think it leads to paradoxes.
Yeah, look, okay, so paradox is, look, you're
That's why
confused,
I
no.
said omnipotence is doing anything logically possible.
Yeah, okay, so look, like, when including paradox, then sure, I can grant you really wouldn't know paradoxes, and you can also take into account that, like, paradoxes, like, certain paradoxes aren't propositions, such as, the statement is false. You can just hold that they're not gonna be propositional. What I mean here is going to be that, God knows, every single proposition, like, whenever it's going to be false or true.
Yeah, we're usually going to talk about the Noah's paradox.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that trivially omnipotence entails that God knows
If
a
you're saying that
proposition being
omnipotence leads to a
possible.
contradiction, then of course, I already told you he wouldn't have the predicate on no omnipotence, my bad. Omniscience, then he wouldn't have the predicate on omniscience. That's fine. I
Bro, you're
already told you
retarded.
I define omnipotence as anything logically possible, so if it leads to a contradiction, then it won't be logically possible, so it won't be able to
Yeah,
account for
that's
that.
fine, but I'm saying that God would also, like, need to know every single proposition, like, whenever it's gonna be
Why?
true or not. You know that, right?
Yeah, but why? Like,
Okay, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, the argument is just gonna be pretty simple. So, the first statement is that God is omnipotent. So, it's logically possible that God knows every single statement whenever it's gonna be
well,
true
that's
or not.
assuming that omniscience is logically possible.
Wait, Eyzo,
Yeah,
Eyzo, can I end the recording?
yeah, sure.
And Monkeys, are you fine with ending the debate here?
Okay. Yeah,
Like
y'all
between me and
can
you?
just end the recording here.
Oh, sure.
Going to be descriptive about a thing for that matter. So it
Um,
actually adds
Aunt
certain information
says,
about a thing. Like no like theories of truth and like no
Aunt,
theories of
Aunt,
existence. You can
yeah,
just
I'm
hold
gonna
that.
quote him right now.
Yeah,
If you
existence is gonna
have you
be
read up on
quantified.
his objection?
Yeah. So do you
Aunt
just
says
disagree?
being is evidently not a real predicate. That is a conception of something which can be added to the conception of some other thing. It is merely the positing of a thing or of certain determinations um in it.
Yeah. Just to be clear, are you just saying that
So
existence is gonna be a predicate or not? Like, do you just hold that view?
what do you mean? Well, yeah, well, this is my whole point. I don't think you're listening.
I mean,
You,
it's a
you
yes or
see,
no. Like that's all I'm asking. Like, do
no,
you
it's
just
not
hold
yes
that
or no.
existence is gonna
It's
be a
not yes.
predicate or not?
It's not yes or no because I'm telling
Yeah.
you. You just heard me call him right. I'm saying that what he means by this is not very clear and it's very ambiguous. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to explain the different things that maybe he could mean and why I don't believe them. Um, or it's not very clear what he meant in the first place. Just saying existence is not predicate doesn't really tell me much when
Yeah, I
you
mean, I
haven't
don't hold
taken
that
into
existence
account.
is descriptive about a thing. Like, I don't think it actually quantifies or
Yes,
what a
I know
thing
what
is.
predicate is, but
Yeah. So we do know that a predicate
we know
actually
the word
quantifies what a
predicate
thing is.
is just a grammatical term for what you designate concerning a subject. Like,
Did this guy
for
just? Oh my
example,
god, we're
if I
not
say
using
the
the
car is
grammatical version.
red,
We're retarded.
then the redness is the predicate. Um,
Predicates
well,
are just attributes, at least how it's going to be defined. Existence is not going to be an attribute because existence
oh, well,
doesn't actually
yeah,
quantify
I'm
like the truth
explaining
about
that,
the thing.
yeah. So, um,
Okay.
yeah, so
Yeah.
there's
I mean, it's ABC. Like,
Yeah,
what
I
do you
think
think
there's gonna
predicate
be
means?
3 things that could have meant by this. But we have to take into account different types of predicates, which the most common ones you can say like grammatical predicate,
Well,
real
what I
defining
define as is going to
predicate,
be
a great
attributes. It's
making
as simple as
predicate.
that.
I know what you define as a predicate.
Now, is
I'm
there a
just saying.
disagreement with my definition? Like, we don't got to ramble upon definitions. I'm
I
just
already
asking
told
if you
you the
disagree with it or not.
definition. I'm telling you.
Yes, yes, I'm fully aware, right, that you also have a definition, like in terms of like the grammatical version of
I think
a
our
predicate,
predicates are
which
basically the
yes, it can
same.
be used in terms of a subject in a predicate form. You can say this door does exist, whereas the door is going to be the subject and the predicate is going to be existence. But that's not what I mean here. What I mean is going to be simply, it's just going to be, what is it called again? Attributes. Is there a disagreement there?
A predicate means an attribute.
Yeah, is there a disagreement? That's what I hold.
What do you mean by attribute?
I mean, the defining characteristics of a thing, like maybe we can say the attribute of a car is going to be that thread, like one of the attributes, or one of the attributes of a car is
Well,
going to be the
yeah.
engine.
Yeah, I already told you. That was already in my example. That was already in my previous definition. But I'm going over the different types of predicates because
Dude,
I
oh my
already.
God, look, bro, this is just ABC. I'm just telling you to tell me whenever you disagree with the definition or not.
No, told. I already told you that definition. I already gave you that example. Like I could say the subject could be the car. If I say the car is red, then redness would be the predicate. Uh, but I think, uh, yeah,
Bro, we're not even talking about sentences here, bro. Like, stop trying to form it in terms of a sentence, right? I can grant that it's gonna be structure and like at least we can like structure it in terms of a subject and a predicate in terms of existence. Yes, I can agree, right? You can say this car does exist, and you can actually form it in a subject and a predicate relation, whereas existence is gonna be the predicate in terms of the like grammatical form, and the subject is gonna be the car. So yeah, like this is gonna be pretty trivial, but obviously this is not what we mean by
well,
a
yeah.
like a predicate when we're talking about it.
Obviously, you couldn't be saying that, or it can be the first of those because in the most basic grammatical sense, we use existence as predicate all the time. So I think the definition you just gave and the example you just gave would.
Okay, the
Oh,
explanation like doesn't even have to do with the form of a sentence. All I'm talking about is just gonna be the actual attributes of a car.
yeah, like redness, like I said.
Yes, but we're not actually structuring it in terms of a sentence. Like that's where you are a bit more so confused, right? When I say the
How
attributes
would
of a
you
car,
put
maybe it
it
has an
in
engine and
a
so on. I'm not
position?
talking about like I'm not talking about like the relation between the subject and a predicate in terms of a grammatical structure. That's not what I'm talking about there.
Then what do you, then how you,
Okay, when I
um,
quantify like predicates, all I mean is going to be attributes or the defining characteristics of a thing. It doesn't have anything to do with actually conveying or expressing
won't
sentences
that should
there.
be the same thing?
Okay, wait, okay, then if you're gonna be saying the same thing, then existence is not a predicate. That's pretty trivial.
Yeah, be the thing you just said, be the same thing, just without the sentence.
No, no, the fucking wouldn't.
It would.
Yeah, because look, like you can also like apply it to sentences which also have undefining characteristics. You can say X has Y or X is Y, whereas X is going to be the subject and Y is going to be the predicate there. But it can also be true that Y is just going to be a meaningless attribute there. So just because you can actually form it in the sentence, that does not mean that's the definition I'm using in terms of a predicate there. You can, and yeah, and I can also hold, look, yeah, and also what I trivially hold to be true is that, um, if I have a contradiction, then I don't consider it to be an attribute or a property.
What do you mean by trivially true? I don't think you're using that.
Yeah, trivially
Right.
just means obviously.
I don't think that means no.
No, I'm doing obviously. So look,
Trivially
I'm actually
true,
gonna
I
make it
mean
pretty
like
simple.
it's
So
true, but
look,
it holds
I should
little
give an example, right?
importance
So let P
or
represent
significance.
A and not A. Let P represent a contradiction. I can say X is P, right? Well, obviously that follows a subject in a predicate form, but P wouldn't really be a property because it just lacks coherency to be a property. It doesn't have any defining characteristics. And what I define an attribute to be is going to be if it has defining characteristics for that matter. Or it has a defined structure, I must say. Or it's just defined for that matter. So maybe the defining attribute of a car being red is just going to be like maybe the paint cause it to be red, or like can maybe be explained
Yeah,
as the
so that
paint
would be a
got.
real defining predicate.
Okay, now look, under my said definition, do you hold that existence is not a is a predicate? Do you hold that?
Yeah, I think existence is a predicate.
Okay. And when we invoke the idea that X does exist, what is being described there of X? What attributes being defined?
What are attributes being defined?
Yeah, like what is going to be defined in terms of X?
What is going to be?
Yeah, what is defined? What's
What
the
is
characteristic of what is
defined?
defined? Yes, it's pretty trivial, man.
What is defined? That exists, or that existed, or that does not exist.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's no, no, I don't hold that that's gonna be how we define it. If I say X does exist, like what
I mean,
characteristic
yeah,
of
it
X
can
is
have
going to
other
be defined there?
predicates.
Because like X existing or not, right? Like all that would be true is that X is just in real like X just has a state of being. But that isn't actually gonna ascribe what
Okay,
is true of X in specific. Like that isn't gonna ascribe any attribute of X. It doesn't actually explain what is
yeah,
true
well,
of
that's
X,
the attribute of existence,
dude. The attribute of
or that has
existence.
existed, or that does not exist. Like,
And what is the attribute of existence? Because for you to say that it has an attribute of existence, then you're just saying
that,
that existence is also reduced to other characteristics. So
that
how can
exists.
existence be like reduced to other characteristics? If existence itself is going to be the foundation, like that's just pretty dumb.
Wait,
Like, what's
what?
the underlying structure that defines existence?
What's the underlying structure that
Yeah,
defines existence?
yeah, and if it is attributes, then those attributes would also exist. Then you would also have to say that the existence of those attributes also has an attribute, which just leads to an infinite regress there. So I'm more so confused.
Oh, you're saying another predicate would exist.
I'm not lie, bro. It doesn't even matter, bro. We can just save it here.